Welcome to this third official episode of the Hit or Miss podcast. I'm gonna be honest, I already recorded like 10 minutes of the podcast, but I realized that my AirPods were still connected, so I was using my AirPod mic instead of, my actual recording mic. So I'm gonna have to redo this, and let's just get right into it, whatever. So, Tank Davis knocks out Frank Martin at the MGM Grand Garden Arena this Saturday. Early on, Tank looked a little like he wasn't, in control of the fight. And then I would say around round 4 is when it really started like, okay, now this is Tank's fight. For the next 4 rounds, it was Tank's fight. He did get hit with a mean counter, I think, in like the 7th. And I think that might have been what swelled his eye. But in the 8th round, Frank is on the ropes, and then Tank he hits him with an uppercut, and Frank's hands just drop. They drop, so he was obviously dazed, and he just hits him with a hook, and he was out, man. He wasn't getting back up from there. Now, what's next for Tank? I think it's probably going to be Haney, Shakur Stevenson, or Lomachenko. I really want to see that Lomachenko versus Tank fight. We haven't seen Well, we actually just saw Lomachenko fight Kambosos. But, Kambosos is not on Tank's level, even in the slightest. So, I think that's the next fight to make. And, that's what I want to see. I don't go too much into the rust, in it. Like it's, he looked bad against Frank. It's obviously it's been a while since he threw the gloves around. But I think that would be the best fight to make for Tank at this moment. Then we had Benavidez fought Golovdic. He fought him and won. So it's only right. Come on, make that Canelo fight. No reason not to. I don't care who's ducking, who's doing what. Make that fight. It's actually Canelo that's ducking, but because his stance on this has changed a few times. Originally, it was, I don't fight Mexican fighters, man. I represent Mexico. I would never fight a Mexican fighter. And then he kind of abandoned that strategy. It's just fight the best, man. At this point, I think we will get that fight. We'll either get that fight or we might get the Bud versus Canelo, which would be a fun fight. Moving on to influencer scene. Jake Paul apparently is not fighting Mike Perry anymore, or he was never going to. Happy Punch basically announced that this fight was pretty much signed, sealed, delivered, and Jake has come out that he said he's 100% focused on the Mike Tyson fight. Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense if you think about it. Mike Perry is kind of a dangerous fight for Jake. In my opinion, he's one of the better fights, or the better fighters that Jake has taken on. Like, I know bare knuckle boxing isn't exactly boxing, but it's still in the name, bare knuckle boxing. Jake hasn't really fought like high level guys in any boxing scene besides Tommy Fury. I guess you'd call him high level if that's what you want to call it. But yeah, apparently that fight's not happening. I was wrong. My article was wrong. So he's fully focused on Mike Tyson in November. So we're gonna have to wait 6 months for that fight. Yeah. Moving right along. Actually, there is one more thing I want to talk about in influencer scene. It's pretty much confirmed. It is confirmed by DAZN that the KSI versus Slim Anthony Taylor fight is happening, and I'm disappointed, man, because I just really don't want to see that, man. I really don't. I'm gonna watch it so I can have an informed take/opinion, but I really am not excited to watch that fight. It's just not a good fight, man. I already told you how I felt about the gimmicks. I would have rather seen him fight Anthony Taylor and Slim in 2 separate fights, and then fight Jake and May. That's what I would rather see. If this is what we have to get, this is what we have to get, man. But yeah, so that's confirmed for August 31st in Dublin, and I will be watching. Yeah. Moving on to the UFC/MMA, but most of the MMA news is UFC. Israel Adesanya is fighting Du Plessis at UFC 305 in Perth, Australia. Now, we all know, the whole real African champion dumb thing that happened. I don't even remember when that was. Was that 290? Where, what was it? Izzy was like, yo, what up, my nigga, or something like. Oh, by the way, I just want to make this clear. I am black. I am black, so I'm allowed to say it. YouTube, don't ban me. He said nigga. I can say nigga. People say, black people say nigga. They're allowed to, okay? But I am black, so please take my word for it. I'm a black person. I'm sorry. Don't ban me. Let's just say N-word. So we called him the N-word. I'm not bleeping that out, by the way, because I'm black. I swear to God I'm black. I don't know how to make you guys believe me. I'm not going to show you. Like, I showed my arm or something. And you guys would roast me for having little baby arms. But whatever. I can say the N-word. I'm black. I'm a black person. Black people can't say the N-word. I can't say the N-word. Pause. Well, so we're going to find out who's the real African champion. It's going to be a fun fight. This was actually leaked by Dana White in, like, a video he released. In, like, the background, you could see, like, UFC 305, and you could see Izzy's name, but you couldn't see Du Plessis' name, but we knew it was going to be Izzy that's fighting. What is there more to say? The fight's happening. Going to be an alright fight. Yeah. Moving on to some news in the NFL. I'm still kind of caught up on that last segment. I can't believe I said that, man. But I am actually black, guys. You have to believe me, I'm black. But let's forget about that. Moving on to the NFL. Sunday Ticket. There's a lawsuit going on. This has been going on for, I think, like a week, 2 weeks. There's a lawsuit going on against the NFL about Sunday Ticket, basically saying that they're charging too much for out of market games. They're just charging too much, and the odds are saying that the NFL might lose this, and if they do, obviously they could just appeal it, and then this would be set back like a year. But basically, with the lawsuit, the broad strokes of the lawsuit is they believe the prices are too big, and they broke antitrust laws by selling them at an inflated price. So, like, instead of what these viewers want, what they want is just a team by team thing where you can just buy a singular team for a certain amount of money. Because I don't know if you remember, but back when back when the NFL was selling Sunday Ticket, they turned down ESPN's offer for $70 a season. Only to now they have it at, like, you pay anywhere from like $100 to $500 a season. It's kind of crazy. That is pretty expensive. So I do get where the lawsuit is coming from, but honestly, I don't see the NFL losing. They're a billion-dollar company. Billion-dollar companies don't lose. Going into the NBA, speaking about the NBA, Game 4 just happened, and the Mavericks dominated the Celtics, man. This could change things. Because this was a complete domination from start to finish. So I could see this maybe changing things. It wasn't like this was like a fluke victory. No, they beat them by 38 points. It was a bad loss. It was a bad loss for the Celtics. It could maybe change the momentum. The momentum might be switching. And the key to this game was Luka, man. Last game, game 3, he was whining at the refs. He was on the ground after fouling Jaylen Brown, calling for a replay. It just wasn't a good look for him. It's nice to see him bounce back from this. 29 points. Kyrie had 21. This could change things. Next game is today. Today, as I'm recording this, June 17th. The Game 5 is in Boston. We're gonna see what happens. It's gonna be a good game. Either way, it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be cool to see them back in the Garden, in the C's crowd. Kyrie really was bad in Boston. I mean, not when he was playing in Boston. I mean, playing against Boston, game 1 and 2, he did not play well. So we're going to see if he can, if he plays well. I'm not sure, but yeah, we're going to see. We're going to see, because I'm starting to think maybe the brights are a little too bright, or maybe the lights are a little too bright. So we're going to see. We're going to see in Game 5 tonight. Moving on to the MLB, some news coming out of the MLB. Dodgers Mookie Betts fractures left hand when hit with pitch. There isn't really much to say about this. There wasn't. Reporting was a little shoddy on this. I'm not an insider, so I don't really know. I don't know how to be an insider, but I'm not that right now. Yeah, there isn't much on like a return. It's just he got hit with a pitch, he broke his hand. End of story. A lot of teammates saying this could really hurt their season. He was having a really good season, so it is unfortunate. Hate to see that type of thing, but things like that happen. Moving on to spring football in the UFL, they had the championship game in St. Louis, and I have some things to talk about this, but let's talk about the game first. So it was slow from the start. I don't think the first touchdown was scored until late into the second quarter. But the Birmingham went back to back with 3 different starting quarterbacks. Jamar Smith for the first one, Alex Magoo for the second one, and Adrian Martinez in the third one. And Alex Magoo and Adrian Martinez were both MVP of the league. Martinez, 13 for 23, not great. 98 yards passing, not great. But he had three touchdowns, 3 total touchdowns. And Tom Brady presented him with the MVP. I can't talk. The MVP trophy. But it was sloppy at start, and I just want to talk about this. The league messed up having it in a place like St. Louis. The St. Louis fans only really care about the Battlehawks, so if they weren't in the championship, which there was a risk that they weren't going to be, and fans weren't going to show up. There were about, I think I saw somewhere, people said there were 24,000. That did not look like 24,000. That looked like about maybe 12,000 in that stadium, and it was just a horrible atmosphere. It felt like, I don't even know, it felt like a bad game, and just even the start, it just like mixed with the sloppy play to start and like the poor attendance, it just looks like an amateur, like so amateur, and like it's not indicative of the football and the crowds that were showing up for other games. It puts the league in a bad light, because this is the game that probably everybody was watching. It's a championship game, so you want to have good representation. In my opinion, I think they should have held it at Ford Fields. What else are people doing on a Sunday in Detroit? You might as well go watch the UFL champion for tickets that are like $25 per person. Not crazy amount of money. That's like a family of 5 can go there for like the price of one NFL ticket. So yeah, I mean they could have had it in Birmingham. That obviously would have. Birmingham or San Antonio, people would have showed up. But also, the USFL championships were held in the, the Tom Benson Stadium at the Hall of Fame in Canton. People would have showed up for that, man. People are going to the Football Hall of Fame because they like football, obviously. So they're going to show up to a game where the tickets are only $25. It's not that much, it's a good game, some big names playing in it. Matt Corral, Anthony McFarland, Adrian Martinez. These are some are some names that are known in the football world. So I would have held it there. I would have held it at the Hall of Fame Stadium. And that stadium has, good seating, decent seating. It's a nice stadium. That's where I would have held it, in my opinion. I don't think you should have held it in St. Louis. And next year, I think they should either hold it maybe in not Birmingham, because if the Birmingham doesn't make it next year, the fans aren't going to show up. They should either have it at Tom Benson Stadium or Ford Field. That's just my opinion. But yeah, Birmingham back to back. Skip Holtz apparently is the quarterback whisperer, because every quarterback that plays for him is just the best in any league. He should honestly, if I'm an NFL team like that has struggling quarterbacks, like the Panthers maybe, just teams that aren't really sure on their quarterback situation, or they have a rookie quarterback, I would hire Skip Holtz to be your quarterback coach 100% of the time, without a doubt. He's obviously the quarterback whisperer. Any quarterback that plays for him in a professional setting is immediately great. He has 2 Hall of Famers. He has 2 MVPs under his belt as a quarterback whisperer. And hearing him talk to quarterback, it just felt like he just explained everything so well. He explained all the football to them so well. So I think he would be great as even a college quarterback's coach. Well, obviously a college head coach, because he's been great as that. But man, if I'm a GM, I'm hitting up Skip Holtz for the quarterback coaching job. Speaking of college coaching, Les Miles sues LSU, claiming vacated wins have eliminated him from College Football Hall of Fame. Now, if you don't know, there was a whole thing with LSU where Les Miles had some recruiting violations. So all the wins in his tenure, they basically vacated all those wins. So those wins do not count for Les Miles' career. Now, the reason why that matters is the NCAA has a rule that the only way that a coach can be in the College Football Hall of Fame is if they have at least, their win percentage is at least 600. It has to be at least 600. This, taking away those 37 wins, puts him at 597. 597. So, Les Miles, if he has those wins, he is probably, I don't know if he might be a Hall of Famer. But to take away even the consideration is kind of dumb to me. So I don't think LSU is really at fault for here, because, hey, you did it, you did the crime, you do the time. But I think that rule is insanely stupid. So does that mean that a coach that has 601 deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, but 601 deserves to be in the Hall of Fame 2 points more than someone that has 599? It doesn't make sense. The logic doesn't make sense. That rule needs to be changed. I don't think LSU is really at fault here, in my opinion. He did it, so he should be held responsible for his actions. But in my opinion, I think that rule's dumb. It needs to be changed. So if I'm him, I sue the NCAA, and they've been sued before, so they know how it feels. So that's actually the end of the show, but I have just something to say, just something funny that I heard. Fox News called Caitlin Clark the Jackie Robinson of the WNBA. All right, that's going to be it for the Hit or Miss podcast. I just want to leave it on that note. Just think about that. I'm not going to add my opinion to it, but, just think about that. Fox News declares Caitlin Clark as the Jackie Robinson of the WNBA. Okay, this is the last time I'm going to say it because it's egregious. Give her a statue already. Basically, that's the show. No outro. Don't care anymore. Most of you probably aren't even watching. Fuck you. You're not watching. I don't care. But go to my website, actually. If you were actually watching that, if you were watching to the end, go to my website. I didn't mean that last part. I don't know why I said that. I actually didn't mean that. But if you are watching, I do hate you. if you're watching right now, I absolutely hate you.